You're listening to the Fox Den Sports Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Todd and his three sons, Kellen, Garrett, and Gannon.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Fox Den Sports Podcast. Welcome to all of our friends, family, and our foes. With my sons, Kellen and Garrett, I am Todd Fox, and we are the Fox Den Sports Podcast. And today marks our 93rd episode. What player do you think of that wore the jersey number 93?
I'll go with Gerald McCoy, one of the best defensive players of all time in Oklahoma history, probably one of the best recruits we've gotten in state as well. And I don't know if he'll be a future Hall of Famer in the NFL. He was very, very good, but I think the injuries towards the end of his career kind of messed him up a little bit. But Gerald McCoy is a menace.
I would agree.
I'll go Dwight Freeney.
Yeah.
Dwight Freeney, former defensive end for the good old Colts. He was a monster.
I'll go with John Randall, played for the Vikings for many years. Crazy guy, but he was a really good player. Played, I think, 11 years for the Vikings, 3 with the Seahawks. He went to the Hall of Fame in 2010. Really good football player. He was always a trash talker and was always just talking. Always talking. He had this eye black that he wore right here. So anyway, he was a really good player. That's who I think of.
He was surprisingly the only number 93 in the Hall of Fame.
Is he really?
Yep. Which I imagine we'll get quite a few more later on. But
yeah, I'm trying to think who else I saw up there. That I don't.
So Freeney will probably get in one day.
Who was it? Somebody right above him that I looked at. I don't know. No, it wasn't him because Calais Campbell was good, but he wasn't. I think Gerald McCoy was better, and Dwight Freeney may have a shot. Maybe. We'll see. Well, let's talk a little bit about the thrashing the Oklahoma Sooners put on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane this past Saturday, 66-17. I know it started off, Farouk runs back. I don't know how many yards it was, 50-yard kick of some sorts and fumbles. And then I think Tulsa threw an interception just a few plays later. But what were your initial thoughts? What are your takeaways basically from that game?
I think it's hard to get in, just like the Arkansas State game. Like, for the way we played, it's hard to really be mad about anything. I mean, yeah, they scored 17, but that's because they put in their backup quarterback because we picked off their starting quarterback like the first 3 drives or something insane. So they're like, all right, go somewhere else. And he just started getting out of the pocket and making plays. So that was just a game plan we had to figure out. So, but I mean, you saw once they scored 3 drives in a row, then they didn't score the rest of the game. We figured them out. But no, hard to nitpick this one. I know Venable says he's got a big old laundry sheet, a list of things he's got to fix after that game, which, I mean, is a good sign, obviously. But, I mean, I was happy with it. It was a good performance overall, minus offensive line run game, but that was about it.
Sure. Kellen, what about yourself?
I mean, it was a good game. The first quarter felt like we dominated. I got a little nervous whenever that backup came in and started going crazy. I again, it was just like last week. Never once did I think we were losing, but I was just like, here we go. Like if a guy like this can put up yards against us, what's a real team going to do?
Yeah, sure.
And then it was like because then they're like, they've outscored Oklahoma 17-10 since he's come in. Within 30 seconds, I think we scored, but it was just like. But then after that, I mean, granted, it's a long game. Dylan Gabriel threw that one pick, but other than that, I mean, mistakes are going to happen, but just got to keep chipping away, perfecting each little piece until we play Texas. But
yeah, for sure.
It was a good game. We've hardly allow. I mean, probably, I don't know. It's hard to say because we haven't played great teams, but I feel like this is one of the better Oklahoma defenses I have ever seen, at least in recent memory. So let's see. Can't wait to see them against a ranked team.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Cincinnati, we'll talk about here in a little bit. I think they'll give them a little bit better of a matchup. You know, the best team that we will have played to date this coming up weekend. And then I know, what is it, Iowa State after that, and then Texas. So it'll be interesting to see. I know it's kind of hard for me to sit there and think about this game because I know a lot of people were just, I mean, from listen to the radios, people talking, you know, and here's the thing, it's fine that you obviously won the game and everybody's fired up about how the offense played, and that's great, but it was against Tulsa is the way I look at it. And granted, you still want to look good. It's better to look good against Tulsa than bad against Tulsa. But it's still to me, we're not as good as we are, you know, like as Tulsa and Arkansas State, but we're not as bad as SMU. We're somewhere in between. And I think Cincinnati will lean a little bit more to the SMU side is what I think of the game. And then we'll see Iowa State. I don't think they're as nearly as good as they have been in the past, but they may have some good matchups someplace. But the next, obviously the big test we'll have is Texas. So Garrett, you were saying something. You heard somebody said that we'll have what did they say? A good record at the end of the year, but we won't be a good team, or what was it?
Yeah, we won't be as good of a team as our record is.
Right.
So like, we could have 10, maybe even 11 wins, and we're not that good. Now, obviously, there could be things like if we go in and dominate Texas and win a lot of games really, really well, like, okay, then there's something to be said. But there's a pretty good chance that we'll have a lot more wins than what our team should have in a normal Big 12 year. But
sure. No, it'll be interesting.
I mean, if we can just take care of business against the teams we're supposed to take care of business against, that puts us at 10, 11 wins, and I think 10 at the minimum. And Texas, if it's not against us, they'll drop some games.
They will.
They will.
So
it's not. If that would still put us in a good position to get in the Big 12 championship. Obviously, everyone wants to get into the playoffs, but that's not for me. I'm just wanting to get to one of those New Year's Six bowls.
I agree 100%.
That's something and if it's the playoffs, so be it. But that's just the goal at the minimum this year. Whenever we're still somewhat in a rebuild / kind of
retooling.
Yeah, so
I agree 100%. I think 10 wins. It all depends on health and all that. I get it, but I think 10 wins is definitely doable. I think that's probably the stretch goal. I think 9, because we're still going to play one of these teams and not show up that day, or some, interception, fumbles, things of that nature, stuff happen. Not only and in Texas, we could go in there and win. I mean, we don't know until we actually play the Texas Longhorns. I think Texas will be favored going into that game as of right now, but there's a whole lot of football still left to be played. I just don't know how good we are. I love the fact that we're getting some more reps for other players. I know that's the first time since 2012 that we had 3 receivers go over 100 yards. I think it's only the second time ever. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that may be accurate. So it looked really good at times, and I know our defense, our line stopped the run pretty well against Tulsa. And again, it's Tulsa, but you can only. You got to win it who's on your schedule. So I can't sit there and be all.
You can only dominate so much against who you're playing.
Right. And that's the thing is you're playing who's on your schedule. You just win. That's you go out there and you win, and it's okay. Some people get, they were upset the week before with Levy, and Gary, you were saying, you and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday. I mean, he can't win. I mean, if he blows people out or he doesn't have the offense goes well, I mean, people are upset, and that's part of the nature of the Oklahoma fan base.
What's crazy though is we didn't play and probably as perfect of a game as we would like, but if you look at Georgia and Alabama both struggling in their games, and Georgia's still number 1, Alabama's still a force to be reckoned with. So it's it's hard to play just a spot on perfect game, but I think that if we can just I don't know. I don't know what to expect. What would happen if we both came in undefeated and we beat Texas? What do you think? Where do you think our ranking would go?
Top 10.
2
There's no shot. 2
in the country.
There's a lot of people that
Because-
have Oklahoma as 2 or 3. For
Here's the
some
thing.
reason.
What are you saying right now, or if we win?
if we win.
Well, I was just talking about what Kellen
No, but there was
said,
something that you
it is-
responded to on Twitter today.
Yeah, that's like an FPI.
But
which
I've seen like
got
other people
a lot
like
of
personal,
analytics.
I've
Yeah,
seen personal rankings too, and I'm like, I don't know what
But-
these people see. But
if Texas is undefeated by that game, they're still number 2, if not number 1. If something happens to Georgia, or if Georgia just doesn't play good a couple more times, they could be number 1. And if we beat Texas, I don't care how close it is. If we just beat them undefeated, we're 100% going to jump into the top 3. And I would think we're going to be number 2 because I don't think we're going to struggle with Cincinnati, even though, I mean, I said the worst case scenario is the fact that they lost this week, but
we'll be fine.
we'll be fine. And then we got Iowa State, who they just lost to Ohio, not Ohio State, just Ohio. They don't have their starting quarterback. They're a mess over there right now. And then we got, who is it? Who am I missing? Right before Texas. No, right before Texas is
Iowa State.
Iowa State, yeah. But so, who knows? We'll see. But
That's a lot of things that everything's got to line up. All I know is we play the game. That's it. Dylan Gabriel, if he's healthy this year, it'll be a completely different ball game for sure. I think our defense is faster. I think they're quicker. I think they're better prepared this year than obviously last year. I know I was listening to a little bit of Venable's coach's show on the radio a little bit ago, and he was saying there's a lot of things that he took away. A few blown assignments from some players, defensive penalties. He talked about one personal foul penalty, 15-yard penalty. So he goes, there's some things obviously that we took away from it that we got to work on. He goes, they got to be mentally tough. They got to be mentally prepared. So obviously he's working on getting all those guys ready. And I think that's where we can't make any of those bonehead plays, and you're going to have them every once in a while. We can't have them against Texas. You can't, and try to be successful. Can't put us in can't put them in a better situation or us in a worse situation because of just somebody getting heated at the moment.
no, I mean, I think Quinn Ewers is one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the country. Like when he's on, he's probably one of the best, but we've seen it time and time again that he will have a game like he had at Bama, and then the next week he just all of a sudden cannot figure out how to throw the ball. So, and last year, I mean, a lot of people probably remember they barely beat Oklahoma State, and he threw the ball for like 30 or 40% total. Like it was bad. So if we can somehow get that or force him into that, range of quarterback play, I think we'll be fine, especially because he's statistically this year one of the worst quarterbacks throwing it downfield. So force him to throw it downfield.
Yeah.
Like I trust our safeties for sure to cover those guys.
I don't know. Every once in a while, we give up a random big play to all these no names, and it kind of scares me for teams that can throw it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I don't think I'm not saying we have the better team, but we definitely, for 1,000%, have a better defense than last year. If Dylan Gabriel plays, if he gets hurt, we have a backup quarterback this year. But also, I wouldn't care if we were undefeated and Texas hadn't won a game. I'd be scared because it's Texas and Oklahoma, so it's anybody's game every year.
No, you're right. I just want to see us, obviously win, but I want to see us put pressure on the quarterback. I want to see some pressure on the quarterback, preferably from the D-line, without having to do much, blitz packages, things of that nature. But that's what I'm looking for, and I'm a little concerned about the running game at this point. But again, I can remember years past there were times whenever I felt that way. And then all of a sudden, against Texas, we just all of a sudden it's like they were waiting for some things. I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but we've had that happen. But I'm a little bit concerned about our run game, getting some holes from the offensive line. And I think Texas has got a decent offensive line, if I'm not mistaken.
They're probably one of the best just offensive defensive lines on the country on both sides of the ball. Like if you add them both up. But Kellen, you're muted right now, but
Sorry. We're really not putting as much pressure on quarterbacks as I'd like.
well, yeah, even against Tulsa, we
considering
weren't
who we're
doing a whole
playing.
lot.
I know.
And it's like, so that does make me nervous going up and playing against actual
I know.
solid lines. Like, we didn't have a single sack, I don't think, against
Arkansas State. Well, we had one at the very, very, very end.
Yeah, very end.
Because they kept a starter in.
Did we even have one against Tulsa?
Yeah, no, we had a couple. I know PJ got his first one, which everyone's really happy about. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, for how good our secondary is playing, can you imagine how easy it would be for them if we got any kind of pressure? And I know we've gotten pressure on them, but like until they get hit, it doesn't phase them nearly as much. Right. Like if they know they're coming, but you get rid of the ball, like it's like, okay, obviously, I mean, they're rushing, but once you start getting hit, that's whenever you start making some quicker decisions that are going to cost your team.
Right.
So
got to get pressure on the quarterback. It makes everything. I mean, it's like, and we'll talk about it in a later podcast sometime this week, but Micah Parsons, I mean, you see the difference. And I get it's NFL, but with pressuring a quarterback, it makes your linebackers and it makes your defensive backs better. A really good, what am I trying to say? Defensive back with no pass rush can get hurt, can get burnt. I mean, can get picked apart because the guy's got time. But if you're an average cornerback and you've got a great defensive line that's put pressure on the quarterback, it makes you better. So it just does. Got to start with the offensive line and defensive line. Cincinnati will be an interesting matchup. I know they've got one player that's a preseason All-American, Corleone. How do you say his first? It's Dante Corleone. Have you heard? He's a defensive tackle with that team. So he'll be a little bit of a presence we got to deal with. But it's not the Cincinnati of 2 years ago. I still expect a victory from the Sooners. I really do. It'll be good because, we did go on the road against Tulsa, but it was more of a home game. Let's be honest, because there's more OU fans there.
Someone said about 80%.
Sure. And that's what I'm saying. So they're at least going to go to a different atmosphere where they're not being cheered on as much as possible. Or as much as the other team, so it'll hostile environment will be nice to see how we prepare and how we come across and what we do. But I'm looking for. I mean, Danny Stutzman, dude, is like it's a beast right now, and he's
that dude's probably getting on some radars and some scouts right now. Like he's got I don't know where he would play in the NFL because I can't see him as like a middle linebacker by any means, but I don't know. That guy's wild. Maybe he's just going to be one of those players that's a really good college player, but just doesn't have like the intangibles to make it to the next level.
Go in, whether size wise or not, can go in and change a position. Like Aaron Donald playing positions people never thought he would do what he could do. Proving everybody wrong. You never know.
Maybe he plays free safety. I don't know. I don't have any idea. Maybe, plays a free safety or strong safety in the back. It's possible. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because he's all over the field. We need the linebacker McCullough.
McCullough, yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back. Hopefully he'll be back this week.
I thought there was a chance he was even going to play
Tulsa
today, it's Tulsa, but they kept him out, which is fine. I think
it's a wise,
smarter
decision.
move, especially because their starter Justin Harrington, he might be out for the year. Like honestly, so keeping McCullough safe.
Yes. No, I think it's great.
Texas time. I think he's going to be. I mean, I know you said it before. Like Texas is a big game that a lot of people have their come out party. I think he could be a guy that makes some plays. And I think Peyton Bowen, like, he's been all over the place, but he hasn't had his first pick yet. I think that could be the game. Like, he's been right there in 2 weeks in a row. Both hands on the ball, essentially. But
this team is more prepared right now than they were last year. I know last year after the first 3 games, I think it was in Nebraska, after the Nebraska game, people were pretty fired up. I remember Bosworth talking about our defense. I remember Colin Coward talking about our defense, how they moved and how great they were, and then all of a sudden just nosedived. I don't expect to see that this year because I think there's just better players on the program, a year more under the tutelage of Venables, and I just can't wait. I think it's great. Dylan Gabriel was 28 for 31, 421 yards, 5 touchdowns. He did have the 1 pick, but I think he's got 11 touchdowns on the year and 1 interception. But that 28 of 31 is fantastic. I know Arnold was 2 for 4, 55 yards, had the 1 touchdown pass. Was that
beautiful touchdown pass?
Was that the Nick Anderson?
That ball was a dime.
Yeah,
it was.
And he had a guy drill him right after he let go of that ball.
No, but Jackson Arnold was 13 for 15, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing for the few plays he's got to play.
Right. And then again, I heard a lot of talk about Oklahoma and that I keep calling it Belldozer because that's what Blake Bell used to do. And that's what they're putting the little package in for Jackson Arnold.
They call it the jackhammer.
Is that what they're calling now? Jackhammer. And I get it. I mean, they're trying to get him on the field. I don't know if they're trying to do it to, make him not be upset that he's not playing. I don't know the answer to that. But Garrett, you said it before. You think this could be, we're setting Texas up where he does it, what'd you say, one against Texas, does it maybe once or twice, and then the third time just what's going to happen?
Well, yeah, I think if I had to line it up to what I think they'll do, I think he'll do a normal one. He'll drop back for 1 and then go, make him think he's going to pass. And the next one, they're going to be so discombobulated about what he's going to do. He'll drop back and he'll actually let one sling. And he's going to, he can throw that thing farther than Gabriel, that's for sure. So they're going to have to be ready for that alone because Gabriel can't throw at 50 yards. So, and I think, defenses know that on deep, routes.
Right.
So
right.
When Arnold gets in there, if he gets a full, step into it, it can go pretty far, 60, 65 yards. So
yeah, be very interesting to see how all that transpires. I know the running game, Barnes had 13 carries for 68 yards. Sawchuk, 9 carries for 25 yards. Both of those guys scored a touchdown. And then there was no I didn't see Marcus Major. I think he was in for a play, and it may have been.
He got the ball once.
Yeah, like a penalty on that play.
Something. Tyree never got
in
at all, which was
so
weird. Maybe it was just. And I know Barnes and Sawchuk have been banged up, so obviously keeping them healthy. But
yeah, no, I agree.
Maybe they were just trying to get Tyree and Marcus touches before they knew Barnes and Sawchuk were healthy and going to be the full-time guys, which I will say this. I know the holes haven't been there, but Barnes doesn't seem nearly as fast this year. I don't know what it is. He's almost too patient on some of these plays. And I'm like, man, you could have had that hole a while ago, or even when he's open field. He's just not outrunning anybody, which maybe that's more Sawchuk's play style. I know Barnes can run through some people, but
sure. Be very interesting. What's awesome is the Farouk, 6 catches for 126 yards and a touchdown. I know I said a few weeks ago that we weren't using him enough. Got to get him involved. Nick Anderson, 3 catches, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. Is he a freshman?
Yeah, redshirt freshman. And so he was here last year, but
and his brother is who? Rodney
Anderson. Yeah, I always want to say Robbie, but that's the guy who played at Carolina and all that.
Yeah,
but no, Rodney Anderson, who great OU running back.
Oh yeah, he left too early. He should have stuck around at least another year.
Yeah,
in my opinion. And then Anthony, the guy from Michigan, 4 catches, 112 yards. I love that kid. I really like him.
He always finds himself open.
Yes.
And I mean always. And then Jaden Gibson, I don't know if you saw his snag.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to keep him off the field because so far this year he's won every single one-on-one jump ball.
Sure. And I think going into the season, a lot of people were really concerned about the wide receivers and how that was going to wind up. And I feel like the running backs are the ones I'm more concerned about now than I am the receivers, because I think Gabriel's going to get him the ball, and I think we've got at least 4 or 5 deep, and that's not even counting Stogner as well.
I was just about to say tight ends are weak. Stogner, he's got like 3 catches this year, and I think it's more so we're just not utilizing them. But
sure,
definitely spreads it out a little bit more. It helps. But yeah, Stogner, he might be a little upset he switched over here because he was getting quite a bit of targets with Rattler over there.
True, but again,
Southern Carolina,
they could be doing this, and then all of a sudden Stogner has a big game. I mean, it just, who knows? The gamemanships people play. I mean, hopefully there's nobody from the coaching staff of Texas watching our podcast, and then they get, oh wait, I never thought about the fact that Arnold may run up and then do a little dump pass real quick. I don't know. So hopefully, but chances are, with as many listeners as we do have, that they could be watching. So we'll see. How do you think the Cincinnati game? How do you think it's going to go down? It's 11 a.m. kickoff, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I know we've stopped the run well so far, but they're like number 8 in the country, I think, averaging like 240 yards a game on the ground. So if we can stop that, we're in easy company.
Yes.
But
yes,
I don't think our offense won't have a challenge. Like you said, this isn't the Cincinnati of a couple years ago. They're so good.
Yeah, they are.
Like you can't look past them, but our offense is going to be fine. It's more of just if we can keep the running game defense. So,
yeah, I'm looking at some things right now, like the rushing on their team. They averaging 5 yards a carry right now for themselves, passing for 286 yards. They have 8 touchdown passes, 3 picks already. They've been sacked 6 times this year. So, and those are against, I mean, they played Pittsburgh, they play Miami of Ohio, and then I think it was like Eastern Kentucky, maybe the first game. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that'd be the case. We've got to figure out a way to stop the dumb penalties, some of the dumb penalties that we've had. And if we can turn that around, I still think we're going to win, but I would feel a lot better about it to not have the penalties.
We're gonna win. I'm not worried about anything until Texas. I think that's when our schedule really starts picking up.
yeah, I mean,
We'd have if we lost, it would be because of our mistakes.
Gotcha.
because you go Texas, then you go UCF, which is good, but that will, I think, likely be the first game that their starting quarterback comes back, so that could be really hit or miss for him. Kansas, they have the preseason offensive player of the year in the Big 12 at quarterback. So, I mean, there's no telling. I mean, they're 3-0. I mean, doesn't matter who they play. That's more than what you can normally say about Kansas. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oklahoma State, oh, man.
I don't know, man.
That's hilarious. I love it. I really do.
I do, but it's Oklahoma State, so it's like you just never know.
I know, you're right, and they could figure it out by then. That's just I watched some of that game and I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, the crowd was just like, there was no energy, and they were just like, what is going on? This is South Alabama.
Yeah, I looked it up the other day, or today actually. Let me see. Give me 1 second, because they lost a big game in 2000. They lost to Southern Mississippi in their 3rd game, which is the year we won, by the way. So, another one, they lost to a very inferior opponent that year as well. So
That'd be interesting. I just can't wait, man. I think we'll be, if all goes as planned, I think we'd be favored in all the games except for Texas at this point. And if we could roll off 11 wins, man, I'll take that. But I still want to beat Texas, and I just don't want to lose.
Well, yeah, everyone's going insane about Dion maybe adding 6-7 wins, which is unheard of. Venables could do the same, which is even crazier if you, from whenever you already have 6 wins to try and get to that 10-11. Like, that's a big
Big
turnaround.
jump. Yeah, no, sure. It definitely is. And I think, I don't know if he's feeling more comfortable. But I do think players understanding the system a little bit better. But again, it's against weaker competition. We'll see how it all transpires here in a few weeks against Texas. And you'll see some better teams, better offenses for sure, better defenses for us to go up against. We could just hold every opponent to 24 points. I like our chances. We could hold, because I just think we're going to be able to score. I think we could score 26, 27 points each game.
Yeah, I mean, Levy's shown that whenever he wants to and we need to score, he's going to make it happen. Like, we've talked about it before, like the SMU game, everyone's scared. It's a 3-point game. Then next thing you know, bang, bang, bang. It's like a 90-something yard drive, just touchdown. Like,
yeah,
he can make it happen against just about anybody he wants. So we'll see.
No, definitely. I looking forward to it. I know you said Colorado game. That was a pretty interesting game. You texted Kellen. I'm assuming you were in bed too when Garrett sent that text to us when we were sleeping, because it was like 2:15 where you were at and 1:15 here. I'm like, huh? I mean, I'm looking at the phone. I mean, I watched the first quarter. It was pretty cool, but I could not stay up. If I would have known the game was going to turn out like that, I may have made it.
Oh yeah,
Everything I was seeing was just like, as crazy of a game as it was, everyone was like, if you would have told me last year that I'd be up at 2 a.m. watching Colorado, I would have been like, there's something wrong with me. Like, I must not have anything else to do. But
it's pretty impressive.
It was one of the more exciting games just because of everything that transpired before, during. Like, you're sitting there. For me, I was rooting for Colorado State going into it, and the second they made that hit on Travis Hunter, I was like, you know what? Screw these guys. Like, they came in here with
they were playing dirty.
No purpose to play this, like football. They came in here to take some guys out.
It felt like to me it was premeditated, and if he had his opportunity to take a shot, he was going to take a shot, and he got it. But then he's the same guy that was juked on that final touch, or not the final one, but regulation. And that
game tying, yeah.
The game tying. So it's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, but he probably cost Colorado a chance at these next couple games.
Yeah, I didn't think you're right. I mean, that's true. And
I don't think they were going to win against Oregon or USC, but taking out their best defender.
Well, yeah, he's
a great receiver.
Receiver
it's
too.
Just rough.
And that's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
That team just needs help on defense. Like, their offense can figure it out, but they need him on defense.
Yeah, they play here September. They play next week against Oregon, and then at Oregon, and they play at home against USC. It's 11 a.m. kickoff, I guess,
which is 9 a.m. Yeah, 9 a.m. for California.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
That's the greatest thing ever, man. I can't stand Lincoln Riley. And then Riley's keeps talking. You get that knucklehead in the news, and I don't know why he did some kind of podcast or interview or what. And he's bringing up that players are not, or his house was burglarized several times, or many times, maybe in the actual verbiage. And there's no police report about it. Now he's going to lie and say, "Oh well, yeah, I went through a different, a private investigator of some sort." The guy's just a liar, flat out liar. And I know I've read some things, and people they're going, "Oh well, Oklahoma fans just need to get over." Yeah, I mean, I agree, I'm over it. But the thing is he's the one who brought it up, so we're defending ourselves. That's it. And I know you shouldn't have to defend yourself, but the guy's a liar, 100%. I can't wait to see those guys. They're gonna get beat up against somebody. I don't know who, but it's gonna
Utah.
But
probably happening against Utah again.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna be in the grand scheme of things. We're gonna be better off. We have a coach that knows how to coach defense. I think once we get the team that can get up there, we're not going to choke the Final Four every single year. And by that point, there's going to be more than 4 teams. But
well, I was going to say, not to mention, though, like, you're going to have to get through more competition just to get to the Final Four. Like,
yeah, I think it was rough for a couple of years. He took Caleb with him, which made it worse. But, like, well, in the grand scheme of things, I think we're better off than.
Oh, we are. I mean, we definitely are. And I'm not a big fan. Like, I think he had. I sat up here and talked to Gannon. Like, Gannon was getting mad at me because I was talking about how I didn't like Lincoln Riley and all that. But I didn't know he was going to leave like that. But I honestly always felt like he had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I thought he would leave, it'd be for the NFL. Just didn't feel like
that would be
fit.
Less betrayal and just like, dang, can't believe he's gone. But like, you don't feel as betrayed as you do.
No, I agree. No, you're right. You're right. And I think there's an outside shot. He never coaches in the Big Ten. I know it's next year, but I think there's a chance. Like, think about it for just a second. Hypothetically, and again, I don't know if it's going to happen. If the Arizona Cardinals get the first pick, would they get rid of their coach and bring on Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams? I don't.
No, they just got their new coach. They're not going to give him 1 year.
They did that to the guy before.
Yeah, but this is their plan. They want the number 1 pick.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they had Kingsbury for like 4, but
I'm talking about the guy before Kingsbury.
Oh yeah, many teams will take a head coach for almost an interim year.
Yeah,
without anybody knowing it.
You've seen it. I mean, the Texans did it last year with Lovie Smith. I can't remember the guy's name. I can see his face. He's now, I think, the defensive coordinator in Carolina. I think, if I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, it happens, man. And I
the guy who was Denver's head coach, Hackett or whatever.
Don't even get me started on that guy. I think the only reason he got the Jets job is because I think the Jets are like, hey, let's hire this guy and get Aaron Rodgers. And then 4 plays into it, well, that's gone. So who knows, man? That's terrible. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the college football season. It's hard because we're so emotionally invested in it. We're expecting, great things. And, I know there's going to be some games where they don't outplay the competition or where they beat themselves. They just don't show up. There's no motivation and other teams fired up. It happens. Still don't like it, but I love college football. Honestly, I think Venables will be fine, especially if we are able to continue to land these players for sure, if they can come in. And, speaking of like, who's the kid from Missouri that you're hoping the Missouri lost against K-State?
K-State.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll still lose plenty of games. I'm not saying, but that would have been a big one just because earlier in the season and an out-of-conference team. But
sure.
Yeah, I think they'll still only win 6, maybe 7 games. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, Williams and Ranieri, obviously, we're still pushing really hard for him.
Of course.
Even if they win 10 games, there's a chance he decommits because
you never know until you sign those papers.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? If I were predicting a score of this week's game, I'd say Oklahoma. I'm going to say Oklahoma 37. I'm going to say Cincinnati. I'm going to say 22. They're going to go for miss 2-point conversion, make it 2 points, something like that.
I'm going to go 45-24.
I was going to go 45-20. So
that's fine.
I think we're all kind of in a similar range.
They'll score. I mean,
yeah,
but it will still show that we can stand our ground. But
part of me I want it to be a tougher game, just to put our guys to a test.
See what? Yeah, no, I agree. See if they got any of that moxie there. Little resilience.
Yeah, a little savage and not average. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, but you still got to see and hope that that all happens, because that's what we're hoping for. We want to see how they're going to respond to adversity in a big game, and not necessarily big game, but I mean, this is a big game. It's the first true road game for this team this year. 11 a.m. kickoff. I'm not going to lie. I would rather play them at 11 a.m. than at night. Those night crowds get
away teams are always that's what I was just about to say.
rowdy, man.
Which, speaking of, Iowa State game just got announced today for 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun one.
That'll be really fun.
I think that one's going to be over pretty quick, if I had imagined. So it's just going to be a bunch of fans just hanging out essentially.
Yeah.
Come halftime, I would imagine, but
having a lot of pops. I guarantee that's what's going to happen that night.
Couple drinks.
Couple. Well, the Fox Den would love to let you guys know we appreciate you listening to our podcast. We know you got a lot of things going on, and you made us a part of your day. So thank you so much for that. I just want to remind everybody that iron sharpens iron.
Please stay safe. Be savage and not average.
And remember to join the skulk. And until next time, goodbye, everybody. Boomer.